Hey guys, this is Lee here, and I have some very cool news to share with you, my viewers. I have recently won the 2025 New York Downstate Sunfish Regional hosted by Montes Yacht Club on Shelter Island. This regional championship is a very difficult regatta to win, as many accomplished sailors come from all over to race in this series of races over 2 days. And when former world championship PJ Patton comes to race, he usually wins this. I have never been able to win a regional championship, so to win this, it fulfills a bucket list item for me. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips that helped me win. Let's go right into it. The first tip, I knew that currents were going to be a really big deal whenever you sail around Shelter Island. So I contacted my good friend and mentor, Jim Ryan, who knows the currents back and forth. I spoke with him and we went over the currents, and I had a game plan for the first day and the second day. When you sail in an area like I do normally in Sayville that has no appreciable currents, you basically rely on boat speed and handling and hitting the shifts. However, in the currents of Shelter Island, it makes a huge difference. If you get caught on the wrong side of the current, you might lose hundreds and hundreds of yards within one leg of the course. So if you're going to be sailing in an area, racing or recreational, know where the currents are coming, know what direction they're going to go through, and if they're going to change, what time they're going to change approximately. This is going to make your racing and cruising a lot more fun. The second tip I have for you is from Mike Ingham, who is a Sunfish Sailor and a national champion in many different classes. His Mike Ingham's advice to have options off the start. So I made sure I started in the front row, not in the second row or the third row where you're getting bad air, but also on top of starting in the front row to have options after I started. What I found out in the first race or two, that the pin side, the left side of the line was going to be favored. However, I didn't really want to try to get tied up in that area, because if anyone sailing a competitive regatta and trying to win the pin, it's either you win it or you lose it badly. So I actually started towards the pin, but didn't fight for it hard. So it gave me the options to tack if I got into bad air, or tack and cross the fleet when I was able to. And that really helped a lot. So stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give you 4 bonus tips that I come across to help me win the Downstate Sunfish Regional Regatta. Now the third tip I borrowed from Connor Bluen. So if you saw my videos from the last Worlds where Connor won his first ever World Championship, we were sailing in Texas, and he told me he knew that the average scores were going to be higher because it was in a lake and it was very variable conditions. It wasn't going to be a dominant showing by 1 or 2 or 3 sailors, and a lot of sailors could have done well. He just tried to focus on having consistency at the top. And that's another thing I knew going into this regatta. I knew that there was going to be really good sailors. Anyone in the top 10 could have won a race. 6 different people out of 8 races have won races this weekend. So having a low consistent score was a really big advantage to doing well in this regatta. Now also, taking in the weather forecast, the weather was supposed to be very light to moderately light, which actually makes the fleet a little bit more jumbled, because some of the people who are really good in heavy air could just get out there and overpower people. But with people who are good in light air, there was a lot more threats to do well in this regatta. However, I feel like I actually have a pretty decent advantage over the average sailor in lighter airs because of just a mindset of being able to sail in light air. So I took that advantage and told myself, don't get a big score as long as you possibly can. And it worked out in my favor. So if you like this content, please smash that like button. I really appreciate it. And if you know anyone who could benefit from this information, please share the video with them. It helps the channel grow. Now the fourth tip was from my friend Dan Hess, who I've sailed with for probably 25 years. Win your side of the race course. Now, what happens is when you're going up the race course, there's usually 3 areas. You can go up the middle, or you can go up to the left, or you go up to the right. If you're on one side, the left, you're not going to have any contact with the people on the right, and vice versa. So if you find yourself on one side, try your best to be the top person on that side. And hopefully when the fleet converges at the first mark, you're in the top 3, 4, 5, depending how big the fleet is. Now, the 5th tip I got was from John Eckert, the 5-time champion of the world's longest sunfish race around Shelter Island. What I've learned watching John buck the current one year, and I was playing the current along with perennial favorite John Condon. We played the right side like we were supposed to around Shelter Island. And John Eckert went straight up into the adverse current. Afterwards, I asked him, how did you know to go left into the adverse current when the play was to go right? And he told me, he's like, the wind got to a certain point where it was going to overcome the current. So in situations like on tip number 1, where current was a major factor, there was certain times of the races where the wind piped up enough where I figured that the pressure with the air was going to overcome the adverse current, and I went with the pressure. So when the wind is up, the current has less involvement. But when the wind is light, the current is going to take bigger precedence, and try to keep that in mind when you're sailing or racing. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I read all the comments. So bonus tip number 1, cross the fleet when you can. There were certain times when I got myself out on the race course and I knew I wanted to go left because I wanted to sail in the current first. However, when looking back at me, I saw the fleet starting to like go bow to stern. When the fleet starts to go bow to stern and they're following you, this was a time to tack over and cross the fleet. And what that does, it gives you an advantage over them, a distance advantage, and then you could tack in front of them or on top of them. And that automatically gives you distance on top of the fleet. I did this at least 2 or 3 times in the beginning of a race, and it made a lot of difference in the overall standings. Tip number 2, I am superstitious. When I was rigging my boat, I found a piece of my girlfriend's hair on my boat. I actually called her and I said, look at this. And she says, oh, that's good luck. So I didn't do anything except rig my sail. And I think that actually gave me a lot of good luck. And when I was on the water, I saw a spider. And I was like, ugh. Usually I would try to shoo off the spider, but I let the spider roam around and I saw a second spider and I told somebody, I forgot who, and they said, oh, spiders on your boat are good luck. So you know what? I got that much more good luck. 2 spiders on my girlfriend's hair. I'm taking all the luck I can get. Bonus tip number 3, stay calm. Now, after day 1, I was in first place by 8 points, which is not that much in this fleet where the top 10 can win races here. I had my friend Ryan Messina with me, and he's like my crew in the winter usually when I sail a double-handed boat. And Ryan just said, just sail and be calm. Don't worry about beating anyone. Don't worry about having to beat a specific person, because once you start doing that, your mind starts to get messed up. So just sail the best you can. And there was this one race where I didn't do as well as I wanted to do. And Ryan just said, don't worry about it. Whatever happens, happens. Just keep sailing and do the best you can. And I had a really bad race, the 3rd race of the 2nd day. And the last race, I just tried to do what I was saying in the first 5 tips, get a good start, play the current, etc., etc. And I ended up finishing high enough to capture the regatta. And the last tip, which anyone can do, is have fun. This regatta, I really had a lot of fun. I met up with Ryan the night before. I saw him play his trumpet in his band out in North Fork Brewery. No expectations, good conversations before the regatta. It was very relaxed, going through the process of sailing and trying to sail your best. And it was just a fun time and just relaxing. those are my tips and tricks on how I won the 2025 New York Downstate Sunfish ISCA Regional. If you like this, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. I really appreciate it. And if you like this, check out this video right here. Thanks, and I'll see you on the